Welcome to Film Study, an all-American podcast with Lexi. I'm Lexi. Y'all already know what it is. It's the season 1 rewatch series with Arlon and Naj. And look, we've already introed this so much, so you know what we're gonna do. We're gonna give you our overall thoughts on the set of 4 episodes, and then we're gonna go into each episode in depth a little bit. If you have not watched past season 1, just listen to the first couple seconds before we do the spoilers, and do not listen to the part where we go into the episodes, because we probably going to drop some spoilers from all the way up to season 5. Anyway, hope that you enjoy it, all that good stuff. Here it is. All right, so episodes, what is this, 9 through 12, basically showed they're in a really good groove now. They're showing how fast all of this was in just one semester. So on the relationship front, we got Liv and Chris doing they're doing okay. They have some cute moments, but she's really helping Asher. And under the radar, helping Jordan, trying to fix his situation as well. This is Olivia. And they don't spend that much time together. So Jordan and Liv are trying to get their relationship back on track. Spencer and Layla are moving at lightning speed. Moving so fast. And there's some early signs, sort of as early as episode 10, that maybe, there's something else going on with Layla, and maybe she's struggling a little bit. And then we get a little clarity on Grace and Billy's situation besides what we already know. Especially now at near the end of the episode 12. So we'll get into that when we get to it. Jordan realizes how much he cares about football and sort of wants it for himself as he's growing with GW and all of this stuff. Liv starts helping others more as a way to cope with her addiction. Coop joining the gang to get revenge for Sean, who sadly RIP'd in our last little segment. Mm-hmm. And Spencer develops into the guy that we know him to be, right? He really becomes this guy of the community, sort of post Sean's death. And I feel this is not a spoiler, but he keeps in that same sort of vein throughout the rest of the series, where he really, really cares a lot about his community and wants to act on that. But yeah, that's episodes 9 through 12. And what were your thoughts on this set of episodes? It was it was Sean's funeral, it was intense. The park where he tried to clean up the park, and then it was the Tyrone beef. The Tyrone beef. Then we had the little combine, and then we had the flashback episode. So that was this set of episodes. So it was a lot going on. What did y'all think about that?
It was intense.
I think, it was intense. But I liked episode 9 though. I remember watching it live with everybody on Twitter and all that stuff. And this episode was really good because it was Sean's funeral and all that stuff. And I loved the Spencer and Tyrone moment at the funeral and all that stuff. And then go to the flashback. So that's one of my favorite scenes, in all of All-American. So I really, really liked episode 9 and all that. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, cool. I feel 9 through 12 was an intense bunch because I was trying to understand what was so big that Billy and Grace had separate, that was causing Willie to act out of pocket, to cause Jordan to act a certain way, to have Spencer hate his dad so much. And then you kind of see how Grace reacts and how she's lying to her fullest potential. And I was just okay, what is it? And
yes, Grace hate train.
Yes, seriously, you awaken it, because I was yeah, she's definitely top tier, top 3 parent of all time. No, she's literally not. And in this episode, specifically 9, she annoyed me the most because she tried to tell Spencer how to live his life as if she hasn't tried to teach him them ways before. And every time he does something remotely to Crenshaw, she tries to push him into Beverly's hands more and more, and always basically say, "Oh, if it wasn't for me and Billy, you wouldn't be there. So stop trying to contribute back to Crenshaw."
Right.
And I was just this whole 4 episodes in itself made me look at Grace in a totally different light. And I mean, to be honest, it also made me look at Coop in more of annoyance because how are you going to continue to get deeper and deeper into the gang life and then be shocked that Spencer cares? But also at this
Yeah.
point, yeah, like, and even like Spencer's always going to be Doctor Save Little, so it's not going to be
Yeah,
like it's
this
not
is really where
shocking.
it started. This is
Yeah,
like
it's
the hero origin story.
it's
is
for
these
real.
4
Like
episodes.
he literally put the whole community on his back, and he only been playing football for Beverly Hills for like 1 month and a half. I was like, sir.
Yeah. 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 I really sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was going to say it also starts like the Cam being a hater because we haven't seen that until like these last like 8 episodes.
Yeah. What they I'm not gonna say it. It's a spoiler. I'll say it when we get but no, I really like these set of 4 episodes. I feel like it was a really tight 4 episodes. Like things flowed well, they flowed well into each other. Always this is sort of where I started. So I started at 10, Mad City. That's the first episode I ever saw. So I really enjoyed that episode. And to this day, I have an affinity for episode 11 because I just really love the Combine episode. I don't know. It just feels like classic teen drama television. And I don't know. I just, maybe it's because it's the first like full episode I watched. Maybe that's it, but I don't know. It just like it gave.
Probably a
It
little
always
bit.
gives
Yeah.
for me.
It definitely gave.
Yeah,
Like
and then the
like
flashback episode is so fun too. Cause I was just like, see, Spencer and Olivia, these parallels. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed this set of 4. But let's get into Keep Your Head Up episode 9.
Oh, yeah.
So Spencer sort of starts out this episode really thinking of Sean, and at the same time he's like getting this sort of Division Player of the Year award, but he can't focus on that because he's so concerned about like what happened to Sean and the fact that he was trying to get out of the gangs, to be honest. And he's really distracted, and he starts to talk to Grace about it. And this is what I wanted to talk to you about
because she tried it.
She tried it because Grace saying that Sean chose
this life. Like he chose a different path. I'm like, you also chose to wreck a different marriage, but anyways, she literally was saying that him and Sean isn't the same at all, as if Sean woke up one day and said, yeah, I want to do drugs, I want to sell. Like he was brought into this life at a young age, and she didn't even really care about his
family. Yeah,
she didn't even
he
care
had
about
no choice. He really had no choice. He was a kid getting drugged into it. Like in the flashbacks when Tyrone came again when like he was a little kid, like he was like 8 or something.
Yeah,
like,
with his brother.
Talking about his brother. Yeah, his brother.
Like all that stuff. Yeah, like
and to be honest, she kind of dumb because if you only knew what Tyrone was doing, Tyrone was also trying to get Spencer, and Sean saved him and said, "Oh, Spencer got somewhere to be." So your son could have technically still been in
somewhere
this.
better to be.
Always got somewhere better to be. Like, you don't know Sean. Don't disrespect him ever again. Thank you. Get on now.
You came ready.
Y'all are funny. Like, it's a Grace hate, bro.
No, listen, I can't stand her, but yeah. Naj, I love that you've awakened something in me that I didn't know I had.
I've been summoned. Like after season 5, I was like, oh yeah, she has to be done. She has to be done with.
Well, and this is the other thing, and this is there's 2 more things on Grace. Is Grace telling Spencer that he and Sean had an equal opportunity to succeed? And like, I don't know. I was just saying you have to. Yeah, he was. No. This is what Grace said to Spencer. She told Spencer, she was just like, me moving you and me supporting your move to Beverly Hills, that just let you have an equal opportunity to succeed as everybody else, right? She was just like, you all start behind the finish line is what she told Spencer while he's trying to figure out like how he got this award or whatever. So she's just like, so I was just equaling the playing field, moving you to Beverly Hills. And my reaction to that was, So what does this mean for Sean?
Yeah, exactly. Like, he didn't have that.
So he's behind the finish line, because you was just saying that Sean chose his own path and XYZ.
And does she even know he has a kid? Like, she need to stop speaking on things that shouldn't be spoken about. Like,
exactly.
Girl, come on. And let alone that,
like, when he's doing this speech, and he's just like just going down the list of names of people who have been killed by gang violence, and she's all smiling and laughing. I'm like you didn't just tell this man I don't care about Sean, okay?
No, for real. Like, and also
you and only you.
Exactly, and also stop worrying about your community. Like, she literally was out here him and Billy, which is putting this, oh my God, you gotta save the world. Like, Billy saying, yeah, well, I know you want to save the world, but also make sure to put me on your speech. Like, y'all are just the same. Grace and Billy are match made in heaven. Like, y'all need to just get back, because this is ridiculous. Like, somebody need to it needs to stop. But
something that I did appreciate about Billy within this whole storyline, though, is that Spencer said, my community needs me to give them hope. And I was just like, what? Interesting. That's an interesting line of thought. Yeah. And Billy did try to like tell him, like, don't let, the responsibility and that burden of your community weigh you down. And that's when he got upset and was just like, well, I don't see it as a burden and XYZ. Yeah. It's just like,
and I'm like, you do. Actually, because you let that guy that Layla showed you that trashed you on like social media, you let him get to you to where you had to like prove that you were not what he said.
Right,
and you
the
were
reporter
giving
that
back.
Billy showed him. Yeah.
So like, it's like you work. It kind of was in the back of your head, because Spencer does care about what the community does. Like, that's why he tries to still continue to talk to his old football team. He doesn't want people to think of him differently. And I'm just like, you can't make everybody understand your point of view. Like, you can't put like a community of all the people on your back and then try to act like you can fight against gang violence with one thing.
Literally,
like,
literally,
you cannot.
And that's the thing, is like that. Him saying his community is not a burden, but how he's speaking about his community in these few episodes, right? Like, my community needs me to give them hope. Like, Spencer, you are not Captain Save-A-Ho.
Yeah, you're not a mayor. I don't know what you're saying. Yeah, I don't understand. Like, like, sometimes it's a limit. Season 3, oh my God, when he that was another story of like, bruh.
Yeah.
Like, but I just don't understand it, because no one in the community really talks about like Spencer that much besides just football.
Yeah.
Like you can like have other people do it as well. Like, if Key and them wasn't breaking their back fully, like, why did it take you to stop the gang violence? Why did it take you to provoke the people to take a difference? Only thing you're doing is trying to graduate high school.
Right.
How is that
like,
changed?
just accept this award and go.
Yeah,
just
like,
accept this award and go.
Jesus Christ! Like, he said, I'm gonna bring black power to this white school. Like,
no, legitimately. And this is all after Sean died, because I like noticed a very specific distinction in that it became about his community in this episode. Prior to this episode, it was all about, I gotta do it for my moms, I gotta do it for Dylan, I gotta do it for Coop.
Yeah,
and then he was not worried about the community like that. Like, remember when China had her thing, right? He was just like, "Why you inviting Sean? I don't care about him."
Exactly. He didn't give him a chance at all.
It was Sean's death that sort of triggered this. Now I have to take on the concerns of the entire community, and that was just it was really interesting to watch that happen, like in this.
And it was so odd, because like, how can he go from, oh my God, I don't like this man, I don't want him to give a second chance? He was kind of like Grace, like, he can't be saved, and there's nothing about him that can be redeemed. He was born a thug. He chose this, and then now he switches and it's like, oh well, let me go ahead and put a flower down on his grave. Let me have these flashbacks. Like,
I really wish
you see him put on this saving the community responsibility, and I'm just like, you can't change everything overnight, like. Just like how Sean couldn't even escape this life. You can't change this life. And I just don't like how they did it. Like, they just do it on him automatically. Like, how was you playing football correlating to the community? You didn't care about Dylan playing on the basketball court and potentially getting shot before Sean got killed. So why now are you like doing it now? Like what
Plus, who's
gonna
listen to a teenager? Like
a teen, yeah.
And we're gonna get into that when we talk about
that birthday
that's
episode.
the thing I hate.
Like how a 30-year-old,
you're like 16. Nobody,
yeah,
30-year-olds are not gonna.
How is a 30-year-old man going to be like, oh yeah, I got you, cuz like you family, like why nobody helping Grayson?
Before we hop over there, the rest of this episode, number one, was just, I want to shout this out really quick. This is the first LA Tribune sighting we get in the whole entire series. And like, it's gonna come back up, y'all. That's all I want to say. And then Love Patience singing at Sean's funeral.
Oh yeah, that's that was so good.
Other than that, Asher is still in the trenches, and the Baker twins content was giving in this episode. You can't be the school druggie. Like, that's my title.
Yeah, like the flashbacks was so amazing. I truly once again, when they give me like Layla, Jordan, or like Olivia, like flashbacks or anything, like it's good to see insight about them before we actually see them through Spencer's eyes. So I was eating up everything that led to, how they are now.
That flashback episode, yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely needed.
Yeah. And Billy is still lying, right? Because he switched the drug. He lied to Liv and Jordan's face about the drug test twice, right? Because they came to him, asked him, he denied it, and then Liv said, I loved your speech, because Billy also gave a speech because he was coach of the year, and she was just like, especially the part about integrity and accountability, and he lied to her again.
Yeah. She ate that up. She knows. Like he thinks that she would know.
Yeah,
like that was kind of dumb.
Like, this was my life, sir. This was my life. So that lie gets further entrenched. But obviously Jordan gets off, and he doesn't have to worry about the drug test or the weed that he was smoking. I'm so glad Ripley didn't last number. I just didn't like her.
Yeah, I was like
she seemed so sus like the whole time.
Yeah, she was
exactly.
Why would he go to the rival school like that? And
he's wild. First of all, I don't like how they had him go to like the rival football team to sit there, and like the football team like it's supposed to just allow that to happen. But everything that Ripley said was always sus. Oh well, football is not going to last forever. Like all the lines she was saying F football. So why would I not?
The thing that caught me was like they were talking about the playoffs, and she was like, "Would that be such a bad thing if you missed the playoffs?" I'm
exactly.
Like, what? Like it's the playoffs. Like
and then
she was like, "We have more time to spend together." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, you're not even like dating
girl,
yet.
Nobody want to spend this time with you.
And then you got Coop.
You got Coop. And then Coop, gets jumped into the gang. That was the big thing.
She gets
jumped.
Oh
my god.
Yeah. She gets jumped in because she's trying to get revenge for Sean.
Yeah, and then you got Tyrone that's like, oh yeah, well you can't take Sean's spot because you didn't want it, so now you're the outside looking in. And she does once again, Tyrone is taking over her house or her apartment completely. Like literally playing video games. You got Sean's mom coming to pick up stuff, and Tyrone's acting like he cares about Sean, and he saw the light.
Yeah.
Okay.
Coop figures it out. Coop figures out that Sean, that Tyrone got Sean killed essentially, and she's just like, no, I got to get my revenge, and so she goes further into the gang life instead of coming out of
it. Yeah, like once she saw that bag. She knew, she was like, "Yeah, this is definitely
facts, exactly." So, and then that leads us into Mad City, which is where we've been talking about, which is when Spencer
he becomes he has authority. He has authority now to tell 30-40-year-old gangsters to get off the park. And then they're like, yo, we got you, Spence. We're going to threaten Tyrone and his level of villains and tell them to relax, too.
Yeah, because it was just like... And I do think it was an interesting conversation. I remember being so intrigued by this conversation of, like, gang code, right? And, like, older, sort of more seasoned gang members have, like, an established code where they're not just acting buck wild essentially, which is like new gang members. And so that was like interesting to see on television. But you're right, it's like when did Spencer get this level? Is it because he just got this award? But like
I don't know, but like what made him
this level?
Bro, why does somebody like choke him up and like say, yo, let's sit back or something? Like
one thing about Spencer is that he bounced back. Like he gets guns shown at him, like knives at him, and he's going to continue to go back. He will continue to provoke these gangsters like he's the Superman. He should have been Super Spence because he's not stopping. He cleaned that park out in one episode. I don't know how he was, one day at that. Like, I don't know how he was able to do it, but he had the gangsters on his side. The seasoned gangsters, like
let's not forget, Spencer was on top of the world in this episode. So the previous episode, he and Layla had slept together after that they decided to get together or whatever. And it starts on them in this secret relationship. So he's having fun in this like relationship that has become open now. He's cleaning up the streets. He reconnects with his ex. Like we get introduced to Kia.
And then like just seeing how they are, and like him thinking that she's going to automatically help him.
Right, and her being like, so since when do you care about the community? Because I always wanted to get you to go to things to go to protests, to go to things like this with me, and suddenly you moved to I didn't know it was going to take you going to Beverly Hills for this to happen.
Literally, like he out here, and all for like Dylan's like birthday. I mean, kind of. Mostly I'm just trying to do it to protect the kids, whatever the case may be. But I'm just like, why now? Even your ex is like, anyways. And then you have like that kind of thing between like him and Layla where she's like feels like she can't relate to what he's doing or his world. So like this was like the first episode where you kind of see the tension is going to be rising from Spencer and Layla with this whole like different thing between her being in Beverly Hills and him always being from Crenshaw and always contributing
and
back.
Her really being the one to point it out, right? Like saying
that
like
Burton thing.
We do come from very different worlds, and maybe like, you know, is this good? Is this healthy for a relationship?
Exactly.
And him sort of just like, right, our differences is what makes us strong.
Yeah, and then he brings it up and gaslights her. Like, not gaslight her, but he brings it up in like a few later episodes, and she's like, I thought it wasn't a problem. And I was like,
facts.
Yeah. Just as I mentioned, Laura was an MVP. She contributed snacks, tissue,
I was just about to go there too.
Always been the MVP.
She had the real one.
Take a pause. Let's take a pause right here to introduce how she came at this. Honestly, Spencer, there would be no Spencer cleaning up the park if it wasn't for Laura.
Yeah, let's be real.
Because Laura notices that Spencer is just kind of unhappy, right, at the kitchen table in the beginning. And usually we sort of attribute this sort of stuff to like maybe Billy like always like Liv being able to pick up on Spencer feeling this way. But both of them were in this scene and they sort of didn't pick up on this this weight that he was feeling. And this time Laura is the one, right? We mentioned Liv did it earlier in this season, but this time Laura is the one that's just like, you all go ahead while I talk to Spencer, right? And she gets him to admit, and she's just like, you know, basically like, I care about you. You're basically tells him he's family, right? And checking in on him and asking if it's about Coop because she knows that that's a really tough conversation for him. And she encourages him to do something within his community. And then she's just like, she gives him this speech. She's just like, we have so much faith in you. Like, and if there's anyone that could get a community rally behind them, it's you. I'm like,
she's a real mom.
Yo,
she's a real mother. Like,
you're the best. Like,
she truly was there. Like, and also, and not even just like the Spencer thing. Like, she literally beginning of the season, she was like, you're family now. And with him being a family member to her, she took in what he was feeling as well, which is the Coop stuff. You know, he noticed that Coop was beaten up, and you know, Patience was worried about Coop, so she told Spencer. And Spencer brought all the stuff that Coop been going with and dealing with to, you know, Laura as like, I need you to help, you know, my friend because I don't know what's going to happen next. Which had her do information dumps and looking into who Tyrone was. So not only was she like taking him in as a family member, she's also helping his family, his other family too.
Yes,
she's been so welcoming to everybody on his side.
So welcoming. And that's the thing, she's doing all of this, showing up on the day with trash bags ready to help out. Plus, let's not forget it, when things pop off, Laura, I didn't even notice this at first, the way that Laura shielded Liv and Layla, it was like,
yeah, she
ain't no way. She was just like, my baby and my bonus baby ain't for.
Get back, y'all can't top this woman. Y'all can't top her.
Literally, she is super mom for real. She pulled her kids away, or Layla as an extra kid, right? Real quick.
Yeah.
It was really interesting because that's contrasted with Grace, who tried to pull Spencer away, and Chris being so real because Chris was like, nah, and Chris just stood up with Spencer like, hey, if you're gonna shoot him, you have to shoot me.
For real, I'm like, damn, not the one shoot for all, one for all.
Literally. What did y'all think about Chris stepping up like that? Because I'm just like, I love that you were 10 toes down for Spencer in that moment, but also y'all are both crazy.
I think he was doing, Liv was there, so I think he wanted to
he had to do something. He definitely did it for Liv, because there's no way. Because Chris has been. He's been like a wish-washy person due to Spencer leaving, and I'm supposed to believe he just gonna hop in front of a gun, he didn't just get mad at Spencer at that party when Jordan came, and then that's just not matter.
I think it's Sean. Sean's death really made them reevaluate. I just love Chris, so I'm gonna come up with any excuse for him.
Yeah, he's good. He definitely is valid. I think Sean definitely opened their eyes, because in the next episode whenever they have the homecoming football game, he also helped. Right. Well, when he helped for Sean, it was Sean changed their lives for good.
Yeah. For sure.
And then we got but then we got Layla.
Jordan with GW.
Oh damn.
Yeah. Jordan, who's decided that he does want to play football. He does want to connect to his roots, which has been his story for the past couple of episodes. He sort of checks up on GW. Billy isn't having it, and Jordan's just like, all right, go ahead, I'll meet you there. And he talks to GW about I want to say it's the Watts riots, right? So he's trying to connect to his roots. And then, GW start talking about football, and I think this is when Jordan starts to realize that maybe GW is using me for money.
Yeah. Definitely. And I also feel like, in a sense of how annoying GW is, I also kind of opened up Jordan's eyes, though, because with Jordan, he always tried to feel like he wanted to please his father. He wanted to be he wanted to have the same attention that Spencer was giving. That the fact that his dad didn't believe that he could thrive the football team, but relied on Spencer, a new kid, to thrive them to the homecoming. To see his grandpa being the one that's on his side, and more so listen, you have the potential. You just have to realize your weaknesses, which has definitely been pointed out by a lot of other football players, such as Cam and Chris, whatever. So to see
especially in the next episode coming,
definitely, and to see his grandpa be the one that's being full up real and saying, you're wasting your potential. You're Spencer. Spencer had to push harder, because he's not he has to thrive harder, and you have to push harder as well, because you can't you're getting a silver spoon. You're the son of a prodigy. With Spencer, even though his dad was a successful football player in high school, you have to push hard just like him. And it made Jordan realize to step up to his dad more and be take a chance on me. Don't doubt me, and stuff like that. But by the end of the episode, they realized, him and Billy realized that GW has diabetes, as well, due to them having an intense argument. So that was a lot.
And this is the thing about it, is the diabetes really set the stage for Jordan to really spend time with his grandfather. And I didn't realize sort of how complex this relationship was at first, but you think GW was the first person to push Jordan, but it wasn't even just about football for Jordan. It was literally about him connecting to his roots in Black culture, to his roots in Crenshaw, plus the dynamics between him and football and his dad. And then so to realize all of that about, your grandfather, that he's sort of sort of opening your eyes to some of your flaws or deficiencies as a football player, but also like opening your eyes to this whole other world that you didn't really know about, that your dad didn't teach you about, that your dad sort of kind of shielded you from. And then to realize that said guy is also asking you for money. Like
money,
that was Jordan went through a lot.
Yeah,
it
was wild. And when it was wild, and then when you had Billy explain how he did the same thing,
he was mad, and he was just like, and you know, he do you realize that he hurt Spencer, like XYZ? And it's just like,
yo,
you know,
he did a lot. Like I feel like I said on Twitter, he was a diehard for Jordan. He said my grandbabies first. Because what he did to Spencer was wild.
He's also he just loves mess too. I really
he does. He's a messy grandpa.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't.
He
care,
does not care. He doesn't care.
He keeps hinting about that scene between Grace and Billy. So he's like,
yo, he holds over Billy so much. I'm just laughing.
He hates that. He hates that marriage.
And it's so funny because Billy then is just like talking later in this episode. He talks about like the importance of father-son relationships, and that the reason why he kept them from GW is because he doesn't have a great relationship with GW. And I'm like, Billy, is this great father-son relationship in the room with us right now? Because Jordan still is trying to get your approval, and you're still like, you're present, right? You're not as hard as your dad was on you. But by no means do you and Jordan have this great relationship. So it was interesting to watch that story sort of in the background of all of the sort of gang stuff that was happening. It was interesting to see this story evolve.
Yeah, and it was just so odd because, like, even before, like, when we were watching for the first time, it seemed like Spencer was his son more than Jordan was, because him and Spencer would always bond, and he was like, oh, my guy, oh, I understand you, I know how it feels. Wow, he could never connect with Jordan. Like, when Jordan got high and, like, came with the munchies after that homecoming dance, he couldn't relate to him. Yeah, like, he couldn't relate with him at all. But with Jordan, with Spencer, he can relate with him with every single thing. Community lines, parent lines, marriage lines. Like, he can connect with him on everything. Even help him or talk to him about football plays. But when
because he's still obsessed with his mom too.
Exactly. And when it comes to Jordan, he's never had that connection with his father. And as much as I know GW is a kind of a mess for what he's done to Spencer, that was the only one that saw his potential and helped him thrive in the next episode. So, but it was so good to see like Jordan's development.
Saw his potential, and even it's interesting because as I want to shift into the next episode and like stay on this GW thing real quickly. There was also some sort of minor storyline about Layla maybe losing popularity from Liv, and Layla was just like, Liv, this ain't important right now. Look, we and Crenshaw, they try to clean up the neighborhood. Layla was going through it. She was going
through it. She was literally taking the heat for her and Spencer. Like, this girl Gabby, her friend, was over here playing devil's advocate. Like, oh my God, people are spreading rumors about you, and then the whole time it was her. And literally about how literally was her saying how she won from Asher and Spencer, and the timeline is too small and convenient.
It's too close. It's too close. And Liv was so great. Liv was so great for caring about Layla's like standing and this sort of status at school. But it was so funny at the end there when Layla goes and tells off Gabby, because Layla, my mom says this to this day. She was just like, Layla after going to Crenshaw was just like, now I just been shot at. Like, hey, don't be
no, for real. Like, after
you better swing harder next time, eh? I'm coming from Crenshaw now, bruh.
Bye. For real. After she came at China, I was like, oh, the Crenshaw got her.
What's Spencer's favorite? Come at me, dog.
She said, you better swing harder because I'm not going to be so nice. I said,
I'm not going to be so nice next time.
I'm not. She said, matter of fact, take this student co-president. You're not even a president, you're a co-president. I said, well, not for the co-president. Like, damn. But, like, even...
It was funny. It was funny. It was good.
It was hilarious because she ate down. Like, I'm not gonna hold you. Like, Layla ate down.
I'm not gonna lie, she didn't eat down, and then
She
them
devoured.
walking off hand in hand
like this is a. She's like, this
City
is a
girls
real
up.
friend.
City girls up.
But Layla season 1 is so good though. Layla season 1 is really good.
For real. She said, "I got a hood man."
Last bit to be a hood. Oh
Look, he in the hood right now as we speak. The same episode, he's in the hood.
Oh my god!
Legitimately, oh my god!
He said, hilarious. "I put on for my city. I put on for my." Let me stop. Kanye West song going.
Speaking of city, and then Coop, who again acting out of pocket, still in the games, blah 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 blah. She apologizes to Patience, and this is the start of Coop and Patience's storied history. And
yeah, and plus she missed. And plus she been skipping school. Like she been skipping school. Part. Like
yeah,
skip 31 days.
Damn.
Who I feel like every episode is just like Coop did this annoying thing, and that's what it was.
No, for real. Like she literally told him. She said, "Don't worry about me almost getting killed. Live your life in Beverly Hills."
Right.
Talking about something. At least I know your future is secure. Girl, you brought him into this. Because you came to this party. You came to this party and had Preach sitting on the damn gate. You brought Preach to Dylan's party, and then it's telling Spencer not to worry about it. I got people covering for it. Like,
yeah.
Yo, Preach was so quiet back then too.
No, for real. Like, he was observing.
I love
like
Preach.
I'll never forget when like she like first met him and he was just quiet. He didn't say anything back. He just.
I'm so excited to get to that episode when we meet Preach.
Yeah. Oh my god. He's so. Oh, he had me scared when he was in the car.
Yo,
he really did. He was talking about the Trojan horses and he said they wasn't that smart. I was like,
yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to get. That's the legacy. That's still one of my favorite episodes.
That was iconic.
It was. All Eyes on Me. Going back on this is the Combine episode when all of the guys had, what was it called? There was called something like Golden Angel. Nah, that's the college right now.
Yeah, I think
it was Angela Southern
yeah.
University was having a Combine for Beverly and a ton of other sort of similar schools to Beverly, and Spencer actually convinces them to invite a couple of players from Crenshaw as well. And that created a lot of different dynamics. But one that we've been talking about is that Cam and Chris both sort of see Jordan and they're calling out some of his deficiencies, and Jordan starting to realize some of his deficiencies. But on this tip about Willie, because he goes to Willie, especially when he and Spencer have that catch, he does that throw and Spencer has that crazy one-handed catch at the end of the episode, and Willie's just like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, do you got it or not? So even though Willie believed in him in a sense, he gets a lot of credit for helping Jordan out, this episode showed me that Jordan was still looking for someone to believe in him, like undeterred, like, and have no reservations about him. I feel like Willie still was just like, I truly don't know if you're that good or not. You have to prove it to me.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, yeah.
It was like whenever Spencer did something and somebody else would acknowledge Spencer, he'll feel like, well, damn, like, that means I'm not as good as Spencer. Or
and people were like, no, it's true, you're not. I don't know. They said like, no, I am good. And the Jordan was literally just like, does anybody believe in me? Does anybody?
Yeah,
and that's why he went to Willie to go coach him.
And it was crazy because, like, with Jordan, he was literally just getting whacked left and right between his grandpa, between Chris telling him you wouldn't, like, between Jordan like messing up during the Columbine, like missing throws and catches, and then having Cam be like, oh yeah, somebody else give me a better quarterback who can throw. To then have Chris, like him talking to Chris at the table, or whatever, getting juices or something. And you know, Jordan was like, yeah, I fumbled, I messed up. You know, you was eating, and you know, Chris was like, yeah, you know, I was doing better than you, but, and Jordan was like, yeah, I misjudged you, but you probably got this. And then the guy's like, oh, here, Jordan. And then Chris was like, you only got it because your dad. You wouldn't have been nothing without your dad. And it was like once Jordan thought he had rising up over the dad, needing dad validation, it came right back. To where he told his dad by the end of the episode, like, I need you to push harder for me. I need you to, you know, basically push me harder, have faith in me, and not just be easy on me because I'm your son. You know, because what matters is I'm the captain, and if you don't have faith in me, then I can have faith in this team. So, like Jordan was, he was not getting a break.
And I think, what did y'all think about Chris coming for him in that instance? Because I feel like when I first watched it, I was like agreeing with Chris a lot of the time. And now I'm just like, it's so interesting because Chris had that whole speech about, you have great like arm strength, which is like, these are things you can't like teach or you can't train up. He was just like, you got great arm strength, you have size, right? I think they said it in this episode, right? You can't teach size. And so it's just like, he has this prototypical quarterback physique. Exactly. And skill. And yet still, Chris, because he was upset that he didn't get an invitation, essentially just threw all of what he said away and was just like, now you only got it because of your dad. And that's like what's interesting to me.
Yeah, he definitely was mad, and I feel like he assumed that this combine was enough to erase everything that Jordan has done before. Right. And yes, like Jordan obviously is a good football player because he's a captain, a quarterback, whatever. But I feel like Chris assumed that just because he embarrassed him in the amount of catches he got this day, that was enough to prove that he was better than Jordan long term. But to be honest, like Spencer had to tell you and Cam, or specifically you, what y'all needed to do to fix y'all team. So imagine if Spencer never told y'all to strengthen those weaknesses. Would you be able to say that same thing? Yeah, would you be able to say that same thing to Jordan? Which means that he just said the cliche thing that he heard Chris say. I mean Cam say. I feel like he wouldn't even knew what to say to Jordan, and maybe he was talking with Cam, and that's what
he was doing it because Cam always inspires people.
Cam
like start talking. What's the guy like we meet later? That's like with Cam because Cam transfers to another school. What's the guy?
The baby?
What is
I forgot.
Yeah, is it the Mo's baby daddy?
The baby mom. Is his name Dylan? Dean? Somebody?
Dean. I think it's Dean.
It's not Dean.
It's something with a D. It's something like that, but that's what he gets people to like talk, to like exactly like with him,
Google
like
Simone's baby daddy.
Baby daddy, Dane,
yeah.
But yeah, he was always talking trash and stuff too because Cam would like hype people up and like make them go after like Spencer and Jordan and like all of that, like
and I feel like they stay like split in half who they hated the most, like Cam with Spencer and Chris.
I don't think
Jordan.
Chris is actually like that. I think Chris was just doing it because
I think Chris was having a bad day because Liv was not there, and we find that out later.
Let's talk about that.
Let's go to that because
Olivia,
but
Olivia, you came for Layla for doing that, like catering to Spencer while she was with Asher, and then you're doing the same thing, just in reverse. You have a man, and you're worrying about Asher playing a
game? I don't get where the Asher thing came. I always hated Olivia from? And Asher. I hated it.
He publicly basically slut shamed her at that homecoming dance. Basically, took an advantage of her in a sense because he knew that she was high and drunk. And still proceeded to have, activities with her. But Olivia just suddenly got the light and was like, yo, like, I gotta help him not ruin his career. What do he have to gain from you? I don't know. And with Chris, he let her put the ball in her court to say, I'm not gonna rush you. You want to pursue the relationship with me? Let me know. You reach out to him, start dating him, and then just started to cater to another man? Because he wants to be.
Yeah. Even though I don't like Chris and Olivia, like I never liked them, but.
No, I love Chris and Olivia now. I think maybe this is like the Liv stan in me, but I really do think it was for what she said, and that it was what I mentioned at the top, right? Like it's her need to help people. It's another form of. It was to cope with her addiction for her, and she really had to help people. And granted, like she did a really good thing. Asher was sitting in his car. in his car.
Yeah, she definitely
drunk.
Yeah, I love that shit.
Bad situation.
Not at this point, but like
no.
Yeah, we know you and your elite status.
yeah. Elite. No, but like,
so she did a really good thing. But you bring up a really good point about sort of what Layla was doing, and because Layla talks to her, she's just like, I can't believe, because she asked Layla, she calls Layla up, right? She's like, can you cover for me at the combine? And Layla is just like, I can't believe your emergency was to help Asher. What?
Yeah, and
that's not your boyfriend.
Yeah, like I remember a scene. I don't know if it was this episode or last episode where Olivia was like, "Yeah, Chris," and she's like, "Oh, you remember your boyfriend?" I was like, "Yeah."
When she's just like, "I can't believe that emergency was to help Asher." That's the same conversation. Yeah,
like it was out of pocket, and like Olivia is my number one character of the show. But I was rewatching. I'm just like Asher, especially at this time. Asher didn't need it. He didn't need it. Like he was being stubborn by his dad.
He didn't necessarily need it from her.
Yeah,
he didn't need it.
Not from her.
It just made me mad because it was just like they were pushing them to push the relationship later.
They were definitely establishing future stuff.
Yeah, they could have expanded on her and Chris, but no, they wanted to have her be save Asher the whiner. Like he got a free whip, he got a free house. Eating all Layla's food every day.
No, but like, why couldn't he stay there? Like, JJ's
get into
house,
that too.
Like why not JJ?
That too.
Like, why not one of the other football players? Like,
that's a really good question. Like, why wasn't there greater conversation? And it was so interesting because it was just like this conversation was had between Spencer, Layla, and Olivia, and I have my own thoughts on like the aspects of that, but it's just like, how did this conversation between these three people come about for deciding what to do with Asher? Very interesting for sure. It was just messy. But with that being said, I feel like regardless, Chris and Liv had one of the prettiest kisses. That little
I don't even remember.
On the mountaintop.
I'm just Bolivia. I'm just Bolivia down. Like I'm
sorry. No, my little early season Chris Livia. I was always Spencer and Liv, but I'm like, in the meantime, before they get together, this is a really pretty setting for a first, second kiss, whatever it was.
Like when I watched it, season 3 wasn't out, so I was watching season 1 and 2, and I was just like Bolivia. You weren't even. It wasn't even a blink for me. I just knew. I said,
"It's so funny."
I was like, "Yeah, whatever happens, I just know where home is," and I don't think I cared.
I know. I feel like I was waiting. I was waiting patiently.
Like I feel like with Chris and Olivia, they were like just so. Like I just knew that it was gonna last more faster than how they were aiming for her and Asher. Like I just knew. I was like, yeah,
I really wish they did last. I really wish they did last. But they chose instead to sort of build up this Asher thing. And I will say it was pretty, I think it was like a bittersweet moment of Asher getting back onto the team because he had been upfront and honest or whatever. So Billy saw that. So he let him back on the team. But it was very just objectively, not counting who the character is because I'm not a fan of his. But if you see like a kid being in a car and being homeless and he like actually starts to get his life together, at least for this little blip of time that it was, I was just like, I'm glad he was able to get back on the team. Like after
it was as if I forgot. As if I forgot what he done. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sorry that he
exactly. I'm like, why am I feeling bad for Asher? Literally, that was my thought.
I was like, he gave away that damn book still. It's still in the other team's hands. But sure,
I was like, curse these TV writers for making me feel for this man who is trash.
They will. They did that. They do that with Corey too, or Grace. Like they do it with everybody to a degree. The parents get the most of the, oh my god, I feel bad, even though they're trash. But Asher, he was getting that redemption arc down. They said as soon as he messed up, another redemption arc.
Always.
Another redemption arc.
Oh my gosh, it was the worst. It was the worst.
Olivia was like, she was like, let him stay in your crib.
And you know what? It was Billy
had
a
her
really
crib,
great.
though.
This is
there.
Billy had that great moment where he was just like, don't drag Liv down. with you. And that's what he should have said at homecoming. But he came back round. He came back round and said it now.
Well, he didn't say nothing at that homecoming, bro. He just told him
he should have said this. I was like, this is a couple episodes too late, but at least we're here.
Right, finally.
And then I get like nothing else really happened except for Angela Southern was just a trash university, and Spencer was once again trying to be the hero, and it all worked out because his mom is going to school now. His mom picked up them night classes, so you don't got to get a scholarship right now, Spencer. You're okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because he was going to take that for the team, and Grace was mad at that. She was like, "Calm down, slow your roll. You don't need to do the scholarship." And he was like, "This is for me, not you." Facts. But Spencer, how are you going to recommend Crenshaw players and then get mad they showed up?
That part. And then let yourself be goaded into competition. It was just like, Spencer, you're a good player, and you don't have to just because your mom. And he was just like, I need to get this scholarship because my mom needs to go to school right at this second. It's so many things with Spencer are so
and right now
immediate. Yes, they're so
right now.
Immediate. They need to be addressed immediately for him, and I think that's still honestly the case with him. And I really hope they do sort of explore this need of him to his need to fix things, but his need to fix things immediately as they happen.
It's still happening in season 5. That's literally
that's what I'm saying.
He immediately went out there and looked for some football team replacements. I'm just like, Spencer, you want the therapy and
bring back what's his name, Dr. Spears. Bring back Dr. Spears.
For real.
Oh my god!
Shout out season 3. Shout out
for real. Season 3, 8 down. Best season. I just cannot believe it. Spencer, a scholarship in one day, fixing the park in one day. What are you doing? And only one day can change.
He really thinks he's the Superman of the hood.
He is. He is winning though. I'm not gonna hold you. He's making a change in one day. He had Tyrone out by the end of the episode. Stat.
Please. Did he have Tyrone out? We still dealing with the after effects of that, man, to this day.
Oh my god! To this day, this man, his ancestry line is coming back in clutch. That daughter gonna get on. She gonna do something. I'm just waiting for her to get the mode annoyance genes and come back and do something.
Oh my gosh, it's
Jesus
crazy.
Christ! I thought we were gonna escape this. So
that was that All Eyes on Me? I think it was, and this is. Back in the day. Here's the thing. Why are we opening with Spayless so many times? It was just too much for me.
Yeah, I liked them in the beginning when they first got together. I don't
know.
No, it was
honestly every episode they had a problem, and then by the end of the episode it was fixed.
Exactly,
it was always something, and I'm just
always something.
But that's why I knew they wouldn't last because their stuff got fixed too fast. That's not
even it was diverted.
That's why I said they moved at lightning speed. So it was always is this the this is the let's talk about them for a second, because this is the flashback episode, and this is when Asher is living with Layla. What's interesting about this, and this is why I wanted to touch on the fact that it was interesting that it was the 3 of them, because why did Olivia include Spencer in that conversation of Asher living at Layla's?
Messy.
Yeah.
Because,
and again, I'm not faulting her. I'm just saying it was an interesting because Spencer doesn't need to be a part of this conversation. It's not Spencer's house.
And he has a short temper.
But then again, that is his girlfriend. Would you
it is his girlfriend, but that
ain't his house.
Him the right. They were still there's new couple. This is all taking place over a semester. They were a very new couple, and I know that things in high school are big and huge and all of that stuff, but it's very interesting because then that sort of you follow that trajectory. And you have this thing where it's Spencer constantly asking Layla, so when is he moving out? I don't know when I first watched this. I was I thought it was at least an episode or 2 where he had already been living there, but it was
no, it's the same damn
episode.
Yeah.
But Asher was making himself really at home though.
Yeah, he was. He was drinking the almond milk. He was eating up the Honey Nut Cheerios.
What is that if Spencer's concerned? What if it's not Spencer's home?
Yeah, he got mad that Layla like drove him to school. Like they lived. Please,
he drove Layla to school because Layla needed to drop her car off somewhere or whatever. But that's what I'm saying is like, Spitzer, this is like, I know that's your girlfriend, but this is really none of your concern how at home Asher is.
Yeah, trust issues though. Like he had really bad trust issues. So like
you see it in a flashback. Yeah. But the thing is that like, to be honest, as much as Spencer is jealous and angry, Asher could technically be angry as well because you took his girl, and now he has to sit here and rely on you and his ex-girl who basically left him for you to stay in their home. Like, you don't know how it, even though I don't like Asher at this moment, he should be mad as well. Like, damn, like you took my spot.
He wasn't really doing anything. That's the thing.
He was just
like
living
he literally
there.
wasn't. Yeah, he was just living.
He was
like, I'm just glad to be out my car. I'm just glad to be out my car.
He literally even helped him get advice about trusting Layla and not repeating the same mistakes. And Spencer still was like, "When you getting out this crib, dog?" Like,
and him coming at Layla, at the when she was just like she's helping Olivia, which we'll get back to that in Olivia's bit of it. But him immediately arriving at the hangout and being like, "Oh, that's funny. He don't look like Olivia to me."
Yeah, I'm like,
what? Yeah, he was.
Out of pocket.
When my girl is lying to me, I do got a problem with that. She's like, I'm gonna need you to back all the way up, sir. I'm gonna need you to bring that down just a little bit.
Yeah, and then he also, like, I think him and Layla moved too fast, and he don't want it to be done before it start. But you're also trying to control her living situations. And then after, like, you kept accusing her of lying and stuff like that, or like getting jealous and
her see, like, I see where Spencer's coming from though, because like, yo, it's like they are exes though. Like,
share from a guy's
that's I understand. That's tough. That's
like we understand.
It is tough. It is tough, and I understand his point of view. I think my thing.
Trust issues.
Yeah.
Yes, because he has trust issues, and I understand that from their relationship perspective, but. My thinking is, y'all ain't been together that long, right?
You have no say
for what she does with her house, and she has given. And I think this is like a recurring thing: is like she's given him no reason, to not trust her, right? She's not. really
she chose him.
Yeah, because she literally forgot she even had a boyfriend when he got to town.
And even she chose him.
Exactly.
So.
So like, why
when he was like explaining these issues, he was just like, "Oh, I figure like, what did she say to him in this episode? Like, first it was quality time, now it's like this, now it's that." And so the reason just kept changing. And again, it is connected to his dad, but this is why I can't stand this relationship, because then it just like, again, they sort of just brushed over all of these problems, and they thought it was going to be a fix with a simple, "You're an incredibly easy guy to love," and him being like, "Oh, I love you too." And it was like, no, you don't love each other. Like, y'all don't even know each other.
Like, I don't understand. And then like then him like doing a date, and then her canceling with to be with Olivia at this time where she as she should, and then he kind of like gets some type of way about it. And I feel like this relationship was a perfect example of y'all need to develop before y'all attempt, because he's coming into this he's coming into this new environment and not understanding like how people are, and like it kind of amplifies what they talked about 2 episodes before, where she felt like she couldn't relate to him, and now in this instinct it's reversed because he don't understand her way of living, and him thinking that things that happen in Kershaw are going to happen here, when even in the flashback he was jealous that a guy was trying to say that he got with his girl, but they didn't, and instead of trusting his ex-girlfriend, he didn't. He just started fighting this dude. So it's not like he's coming, like Grace talking about, he's coming to Beverly Hills to change. He's technically not, because he's projecting his dad leaving the family to his girl potentially leaving
everything, to every single area of his life.
Yeah, and I'm like, at a degree, like, y'all only dated for like 4 months. I mean, I'm lying. A couple weeks to a month. And
legitimately, it's probably just at a couple weeks, maybe a month at this point. Like, everything happens super fast, because you think like this is the first semester of their junior year, and Spencer moved there like after the start of the semester because the football season was already underway when he moved, right? And so like it literally has only been like maybe a month since they've been together, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it's just insane, and it's unbelievable because this whole episode was just Spencer picking and choosing something else to be mad about, while Layla is just like, okay, well, what am I doing wrong? Okay, maybe he should get. And even Ash was like, okay, well, maybe I should leave. Like, maybe I should just stop because JJ, Jordan, and Spencer don't mess with me, and I have to sit here and nibble on, my ex's crumbles. So maybe I should just leave. And Spencer just like, yeah, get out, girl, choose me or him. And I'm just like, you have to calm down. Like, even with Spencer, like him talking about oh, well, Ash needs to leave in this one day so we can get some quality time together while they're trying to work on an assignment. I'm just like, you already have a long time. Y'all barely had a long time before he came here. Like, you were always at Crenshaw. She was at, living, like, moving around. Y'all barely had quality time to begin with. Asher's not changing that. Like, come on. Like, when I getting quality time when her dad was in the house, too, like, I wasn't getting quality time then. And that was, like, maybe a week and a half ago. Please. Stop lying.
And that's what I'm saying. And so they just, like, overlook their issues to... and even, both of them overlook their issues and try to put a Band-Aid over it by saying, I love you. And it's like, this is still
I'm just like, it's
incredibly too fast. Too fast. And so that was sort of Spencer's end of the flashbacks. And here we have his counterpart, his soulmate, Liv. And Liv's flashback.
Don't. I was like, not the soulmate.
What? Don't even play with my existence.
Don't play with her. Don't play with her. Like,
don't even play with me like that.
I was like, no. I thought you were gonna make it as a joke since her and Spencer are trying to act like they're soulmates right now and match made in heaven.
No, I don't even like to joke about that. I truly hate this pairing so much.
This shit was not it.
It was not it. But we get Liv finding some pills, and it's to be fair, it is things have gotten busy in the Baker household. Like the campaign is in full swing, and football season is in full swing. So Liv sort of feels like she did when she was in the deepest depths of her addiction. So she goes upstairs, finds a bottle of pills. And she ends up missing a test, and she has this class with both Spencer and Layla. I'm gonna go on a little Layla rant here. Oh. Yeah, Spencer also asked, like, you good on the stairs or whatever. But listen, Layla asking, where's Liv? Shouldn't she be here by now? I'm like, come through for your best friend. And he was just like, oh yeah, I passed her on the stairs, but I don't know where she is. And then we get that whole conversation with them in the car, and she lies to Spencer. She's just like, oh, I didn't take the pills. Blah, blah.
Yeah, I loved it too. Yeah, because it really shows how much he cares for her. Like, I really
love the conversation. And
he was the only one that like cared, like, to ask her
false.
How she's doing. All
no,
this stuff,
false. No, because Layla.
Not the false. Fact check.
Listen. I was just like, I love the conversation in the car. Woohoo, Spolivia. I love them down. But Laylivia, again, I will always be.
Their friendship is really not that good.
Yeah, she was
1,000.
Listen, that's fine. I'm still going to say it is because Layla later on in this episode comes to the hangout. And she's just like, look, I've been texting and calling just like Spencer did, right? Like I've been calling you all day. And Layla comes and she's just like, I've been texting and calling you. And she's just like, she starts to give her this Wonder Woman pen, and it's just like, I know how much you love the remake, and I love that your courage and your strength in your sobriety has like made me inspired. And she gives her this whole speech about her 1 year sobriety anniversary coming up. And then Liv shows her the pills and she immediately is just like, wait, like, have you taken any? Like, how can I support you? How can I, and then she encourages like that, this really great speech that we get of Liv coming to her family later in the episode and being like, I had to send 911 text to get you all here. That was because Layla was just like, yo, your parents and Jordan need to know that you're feeling this way.
Yeah.
And that's why I say Spencer wasn't the only one to ask if she was okay.
They
just did that whole that whole scene, which is my favorite scene of the episode, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like this episode alone is probably one of my favorite ones out of the season, especially because once again, Olivia's my favorite character. So to watch this episode be centered around her and like how, you know, she was like a year prior, and seeing how lost she was and like how she really just wanted her family to be there for her, and they weren't. And, you know, she had to rely on partying and drugs and alcohol to feel something to let loose and let those emotions go. It was really like I really related to her in that scene. And I just love how it was like how everywhere she went, it was a flashback to like match that specific scene, like how you know, the party, and then how her and Jordan was there and she was talking to JJ, and you know, you kind of see like Jordan like look at her a certain way about the party thing, which relates to later on when he was like, I want to seem like the cool brother that was there for you and allowed you to party. Like you see how she felt, and then also people around her, and it was just so emotional. And I feel like the best part of that was definitely the scene where, you know, Jordan and her parents found her like OD'd, and they were like, you know, helping her up in the shower. It was just showing that, you know, even though she felt a certain way, they could have lost her that day, and then to see her grow up a year later, and you know, and it still didn't change, which is the saddest thing is, you know, she thought that going to rehab would change everything the whole time. It didn't really change the family dynamic until she spoke about it. And you kind of see her take the stand because she slowly was able to express herself, especially with her dad about lying and stuff like that. And this whole episode, she let it loose. She let the weed thing go. And Laura was like, what? She let them not being there for her go. Like, she finally was able to let out all this tension she felt in herself. And I was proud of her that day. I was like, yo, listen, snap.
So incredibly proud. And I think, like, Sam plays those moments so well. It's like, it's why Olivia is my top.
No, for real. Like Sam, like I remember crying when I watched it. Like, I was like, damn, like,
especially
this
when
girl.
she cries and she's just like, I thought you all had a date, and she was just like, and then she's like, something more important, and she's like crying. It's just such a great scene, and it's so like emotion. It's such an emotional episode, and she played it. She just played it so well, and it's a hallmark. This episode, I feel like, is a hallmark for like why Olivia stands.
No, for real.
I agree. And, like, I love this episode so much. And I love too. And again, I think it's underrated, but like, apart from her family, I love that it was like showing that other people are concerned about her, right?
Exactly.
And given from the first episode where she's really like alone and Spencer comes into her life, now Spencer's just like checking on her, like right in the car and being like, oh, I called you. And now we get, you know, this friendship that she let go of with Layla, and Layla's just like, wait, what? I was calling you. And so there are people that care about her and are concerned enough about her to say, like, tell your family, like, share how you're feeling and don't go through this alone.
Yeah, it was amazing. And plus, like, just the scene of her parents and her and Jordan being there with her, and then her getting her award and looking up in the big group hug. Yeah.
Leslie is still trash, though. I don't like her that much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I was just like, bro, Leslie came, but she was just like, now's the time to dig deep. I'm like, this is like the most generic piece of advice anybody could ever give.
Seriously.
Like, this is trash.
Yeah, like, I would have thought that she would have known as well. But like, oh yeah, because your 1 year is coming. She didn't say nothing. Like, she don't even remember.
Literally.
Like, I can't believe it. Like, I can't.
Yeah, did her sponsor even mention her 1 year? Was Layla literally the only one to mention the 1 year?
She didn't mention it until the speech. So she never mentioned it when she talked to Olivia.
She wasn't like, wild. Listen, you've been doing so well, you're almost at 1 year. Nah, I can't. I can't with her. I can't. That's the best.
She was like, she said, dig deep and find out what's the trigger. And then that was it.
You gotta figure out what demons popped up for you today. Like,
like, what are you talking about?
Talking like that? Gotta figure out what demons popped up for you today.
That's so vague. Like, she thought she ate. Like, she ate nothing.
She really did.
She needed to be fired immediately. Like, and I know Olivia was like, what? Yeah. She was like, yeah, find a trigger. And then Coop, she
Coop, I felt incredibly bad for Coop in this episode because this is when her dad this is when we meet her dad, and he came back, and
Oh man,
you know,
Yeah,
it
that
was
was
this
hard.
whole like, because it was like stuff with Sean or whatever, and so she was trying to get Coop to move back, and essentially it was just that Sean had threatened, not Sean, sorry, Tyrone had threatened his
Yeah.
job,
Mhm.
threatened his job, and so he sort of came back into their lives. And then by the end of it, he was just like, "Oh, I quit my job today," which was like a nice little gesture, but it was like the damage had already been done, because you're sort of like
Yeah.
re-triggering Coop. She had to have this like whole lunch or whatever with her mom, who still hasn't come to a place of acceptance for who she is, and so that was just a really tough, like really tough thing. And you know, Coop has that part where she's just like, "Oh, you're trying to break my heart twice, whatever, I don't need y'all." And you know what,
I was
good for
emotional
Coop.
too.
It was
I love that
sad
scene.
though. It was
That
really
was,
sad.
that was a great
It was
moment.
it was an emotional scene, because like when she ran up and hugged her dad, like it was like her inner child came out. You know, like
Yeah.
I haven't
So
seen my dad in
much, yeah.
years, and to think that, you know, even though I'm going through I so much drama with Tyrone, this is like I'm finally back where I need to be, which is home. She found out that Tyrone is the reason why her dad is here, the reason why she's reliving this
And that her
trauma
mom
of her
still doesn't
mom.
accept her.
Yeah, and her
Her
mom
And her
mom's
dad
saying
lied
not
to
trash.
her.
the girl. Yeah, and her dad saying that he's going to stay, and you know, he signed the papers and said he quit, and
Yeah.
he's going to unite the family.
The Emancipation Papers.
Yeah, low key.
Yeah.
Did her and her dad and her mom ever reunite? Like, okay,
Yeah. They just weren't. They. I don't think they're ever like on
TV. I mean, screen.
TV
Screen,
together.
yeah.
They just show up at different times. But I think they are
Okay.
still together.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he did stick up to it, because I low key was like, did he even continue? But like,
Yeah.
cool, like that.
We saw him when Coop was at the hospital
Yeah, it was
in
just
future episodes.
Yeah, it was just wild. But
It was.
made
It was
cool.
a very.
It made cool talk to Spencer about his problems with Layla, and was
Mhm.
saying, you know, don't repeat, you know, don't put, because you push away love or whatever. Don't let it push away the people that you love. Like how you did with your ex at Crenshaw Key.
Yeah.
So go ahead and talk to Layla, because now you're using Asher as the reason to push away Layla, and have her excuse or reason to push away the relationship. So go ahead and fix it up. So, so Coop once again is the one that helped essentially Spencer and Layla fix their relationship, because Spencer was going to blame Asher. Yeah.
This episode was a lot, but it was also just like a lot of tears. Like it was like, you know, the stuff with Liv in her family, and I always cry when Liv cries.
Yeah,
the stuff with Coop and her family, and it's just it was a very heavy family driven episode. Also, I wanted to address this, because we mentioned it a couple times, but the writers and the director did not handle that flashback scene with Liv and Asher correctly. Like,
God.
For what they state happened, and for what they've, you know, sort of established within the show, there was like a particular line, and there was a line,
Asher?
you know, when he asked like what should you be mixing those two things? And so there were a couple of lines, and there was a couple of like directive pieces to that episode where it was just like, this is not giving what you think it's giving, and like you should have switched some things up.
Yeah, because if you're having him say that he never took advantage of her, why is you having him mention that he knew that she took two things that's not supposed to be mixed,
right? And
then proceeded to have sex with her? So it proves to me that he knew that she wasn't in the right state of mind, and he still pursued, because they're both sad. Like, your sadness is not the same as her
and he
sadness.
was drunk, but he was sober enough to ask. And
to understand. Issue. Yeah, and she wasn't, and that's why I was like, whatever y'all try to do with them next, it won't go through with me. Sorry.
Always be trash. Always be trash. Mm-hmm. And then the episode ended on Billy telling Laura that he switched the.
Oh my, the test,
Listen, we're gonna come back with 13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
16. Stay tuned for the next episode.